So tell me, so your students, how old are they? The line is breaking. How old are they? If you can hear me.
They are about to go to high school.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, so that's amazing. That's amazing. At some point, we'll be doing such, for high school
They
students.
They are around 15 and 17, 15. Yeah.
Okay, all right, great. Lady Kewetiwe, how are you?
I'm great, my leader. Good evening, colleagues.
Good evening. How has it been? Oreditse was just sharing with me on the peace that she has experienced as we started the Reinvention program. All right, so tell us, what has your own experience been like?
Wow. Amazing. So far, amazing. Honestly, I am not regretting any minute that I'm spending with the team. And I'm realizing the results of what I have learned and trying to put into practice every day. I think by the end of the 21st day, I would be a totally transformed somebody. And I also share the experience with other people around me. I hope I'll be able to influence other people around my circle. But yeah, on a very serious note, I am very much inspired. I'm working on few projects that are getting towards the direction of what I'm looking for. I'm hoping that tomorrow I'll be getting my accreditation for HWCTA that I've been fighting for a very long time. So one thing that
what's HWC?
It's health and welfare SITA.
Oh, okay.
It's one SITA that is very difficult to get accreditation on. I've got accreditation with other SITAs, about 3 SITAs. This one I've been struggling from 2015. So I have knocked again last week, Friday, and then they said they're sitting tomorrow. So I've submitted today. I've been working on the document I've submitted today, and I'm hoping to hear the news tomorrow. I'm just taking a no approach answer to say, I don't believe that if they have refused last week, they must agree this week. If they refuse next week, that other week they must agree. So that's my thing. I'm going to push them until I get it. Before the end of camp, I would have got my accreditation.
Great. I love that spirit. Ruru, how has it been? Tell us, how has it been? And thank you, Kewetiwe. Yeah.
Good evening, sir. It's been awesome. I sent out more proposals like you advised me to. So one got back to me that they will have to talk to their head of operations and they will get back to me before the end of the week. So, but the others are yet to reply. What else? Okay, I just got someone to also help me in my bookkeeping for my business because I was struggling with it a bit. But now I've been able to see someone who is really interested. Then also, I'm setting up my team for my business. I've been doing everything alone for a while since I started, but I've realized that there are some things, just like you said, if you know there are things that money can do, you should try and do that. So I'm setting up a team of just 5 people where I will also have a creative director, as well as someone handling my accounts. Someone that will also help me with my designs, bring ideas. So yes, and also I have a friend who is a photographer who is willing to join my team also to help me with my shoots and baby shoots and all. So yes, that's how far I've gone. So I'm seeing the week is started off so beautiful.
Awesome. And remember, always give credits, all right? So the photographer, in all your posts and in everything that you do, always give credits, all right? I love the news I'm getting. I love the energy. Thank you. I have my sister here. I call her my Egbon, Omo, please, can you tell us how it has been on the reinvention journey? What has been the high points for you? We've been seeing you in and out, but yeah, I know you're getting some benefits to always show up.
Oh my God. Yeah, I've been only just today. I was, recapping what you told us yesterday and how I was going to go about. And when you were talking about the what's it called now? You played yesterday evening, last night you played. Yes. So I was just sharing with my family how that helped. That encouraged me a lot, and I feel when you constantly do that and you remind yourself. So I had the opportunity to share it with some women this morning, and they all saw it as a bright idea. So it was a good idea for me. Yes.
Awesome. And that's great. It would be nice to also get more of these people, because what we're doing now is that the Reinvention Immersion Bootcamp will be going on every 2 months. So this seems to be like we're just trying to get every other thing right, but going forward, it's going to be power loaded, and there will be clear testimonies that people can trace back to this bootcamp. And also, with some of the things we've noticed, there's reinvention is everywhere. Okay, so I just got called to speak in Dubai for the Becoming Summit, and I'm going to be talking about reinvention on a personal level. And what this has also shown is that reinvention takes place in business, in the marriage, for parents, because even parents need to reorientate themselves as to how they take care of their children. All right, what have they passed down that has hindered the children, all right, from experiencing positive growth and achieving their results. So that's it. So Shagun, can you share with us your progress thus far? And then today we're just going to just touch a bit around what we spoke around this morning, and because this morning I took time to drill down on laser focus. So Shagun, please share with us how the progress you've made, in the last 24 hours.
To be honest, I've not made much progress.
That's fine.
I'm pacing myself because to do a lot of, I have stuff to do in my mind. I know it's somewhere behind. I'm behind the things that I penned down to do. Okay. But the good thing is that I am conscious of the fact that I need to make those adjustments as I go.
Okay. So one of the things I needed to say, beyond the conscious, understanding or reminder, please, can you take time to note some of these things down? Okay. Mm-hmm. Even as I speak, that's what I've been doing all morning and all day. As the thought comes to mind, subconsciously, I put them on paper. All right. Put those thoughts on paper and then start to I wish I could show you one of the things I wrote here. I now started to ask myself, what is the next step and what should I do? Okay. And as I started to ask those questions, it started to help me come up with a to-do for the week. All right. And then also in the coming week. So I advise that, please, strongly advise, you must have your journal and then you must have your notebook where you put down all of these thoughts. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So, like I said, today, it's just going to be a bit of a review of one of the things that we talked about today. And today is day 10. All right. So we started early this morning at 6 a.m. And, it's amazing how tomorrow will be day 11. Next tomorrow will be day 12, and then we are done, and you'll be wondering, really, I should have just taken my time, to, follow through with this. But anyway, I'm sure that at the end of the day, we'll also be reinventors. And we'll be calling a lot of people, to understand why this journey is intrinsic for anybody. In fact, this journey is a must attend, at every point in your life. So some people came over to my office today to avail an interview. And also, one of the things I told them was that, hey, reinvention is like when you get to a wall. Okay? When you get to that wall, that's the point where you have to break through that wall, because that's the point where reinvention takes place. Reinvention is likened to betting, okay? For women that have given birth, it's almost like that point where you push, you give birth to life, truly beyond the womb, you begin to realize that that's reinvention. Reinvention for the caterpillar that has gone into the cocoon and breaks out from that cocoon, almost at that instant, is set out for reinvention. So a chick that has laid the egg, all right, that point where the egg breaks or arches, all right, that's the journey of reinvention. So every time we see a wall, is a signal, all right? And walls are like obstacles. Walls are like challenges. Walls are like dimensions to break into the newest dimension. They are different from levels. And I need to say that again. So we have levels. So some people say, I want to step up to the next level. There are levels and there are levels. But beyond levels is what we call dimensions, all right? Now, once you want to transit from a level of inadequacy to a level of sufficiency, what is happening is that you are transiting from one dimension to another dimension. So when the title of this book was crafted, but it wasn't just beyond the title of the book. It was the fact that here you see a typewriter, and then you see a laptop here. What naturally happened is the fact that the typewriters, even the manual typewriters, have become obsolete to the extent that there is now a need to move to a new dimension. And the dimension for this was not even this. So that's why it's radical. So you'd have probably had a desktop, a mainframe or something. But right then and there was a cataclysmic reaction that led to an instantaneous changeover to another dimension. So we started on, good evening, Mr. Luka, Madam Olukade. Now, so we started on earlier this morning, and it was a fantastic ride. Can anybody, even that was part of the morning, share some of their thoughts or what they learned this morning? Can you just unmute, if you're part of us this morning? Is there anybody willing to volunteer to share what you learned this morning? What did you learn this morning? Okay, did anybody have the chance to review? Okay, Kevin, please go ahead.
I remember we spoke about order this morning.
Yes.
And from there, I understood to say I need to have an order of how I'm doing things. If I have a plan, I need to organize my life. And if I have a plan, I need to implement according to the order. It cannot just be, today I'm doing that, or I'll just decide what is happening. I'll see what is happening for the day. But I must have an order of doing things.
Now, I was talking about also, and thank you so much. I mentioned something around order, slightly different from spontaneity, all right? Because some of us are used to spontaneous action. And I'm not saying it's bad to be spontaneous. I'm only just saying that there's a way that you must order yourself and order your life that limits distractions, that enables you to work smarter and not harder, all right? And then that enables you to also be able to take clear or calculated risk. And this can only come when you are operating at that level of order, where you've organized yourself to the point where not only, because you see, all of these things cannot be treated in isolation. So for the guy that is talking about order, the guy must have been practicing silence now. The guy must have been practicing affirmations. The person must have been going on that, that point where he comes to crafting his goals and setting out his priorities. And whilst you are doing all of that, and then you start to bring order, you declutter, you unpack, you pack up, you start to bring some structure and system to what you're doing, you will soon realize that what is happening naturally is you are aiding yourself to truly now begin to experience that transformation you seek. I don't know if anybody gets it. So it's about creating systems. And I shared some things with the Junior Chamber of Commerce last Sunday. One of the things I shared was about systems and structure also, but with a different light. And I talked about the guy called Mansa Musa, all right, that had 400 billion, but that 400 billion did not subsist beyond, and is reputed to be the richest man even to date. From Mali, Mansa Musa. And in fact, he conquered territories, including a bit of Nigeria and all of that. That was in the 14th century. But you know the reality? That wealth did not go beyond 100 years. It dissipated. Why? There was no structure, there was no system. And that's also a signal that there was disorder. There was no organization. Okay? Now, remember, then there's a company that is a 400-year-old company. The company is called Vopak, 400 years plus. But they've been able to create systems. They've been able to create structures and create order of some sort that they've been around and they're still around. And they don't even intend to go anywhere, they just intend to keep being around. Why? Because they understand order. They understand order. Now, so for everything that we do, we almost also begin to introduce some form of systems. And that's what Lady Olukade muted a few days ago, that she's beginning to see that this thing is beginning to create a system. And almost like a system, it's almost like a ritual. So you see that your body now begins to get used to it. Now, I also said something that was very significant yesterday, which somehow something just keeps telling me to keep bringing it to the fore, that the mind is not able to distinguish, or rather the brain cannot distinguish between the real instances and false instances. All that the brain works with will be semblances of those things that trigger, all right, either emotions, for at different levels. Okay, so the brain, and that's why, for instance, there's what you call laughing gas. Laughing gas is, the gaseous substance that propels you to just keep laughing. Now, why do you keep laughing? Is that the brain interprets it, that gas, by the time it's released, and it just gets you to start to laugh. Now, also, the way the brain triggers you to respond to that, the laughing gas, is also the same way you get triggered when you're in a comedy show. You're in a comedy show. So that's how the brain works. That's how the brain works. Look, when I went for a communication training one time, they said, look, Taiwo, please, whenever you want to address a large crowd, we advise you to take water. Okay? Just take water before you start. And that when you take water, take it in a relaxed state. Because what you're telling your brain is that there's no trouble, that there's no chaos. Because what happens is that when we get scared, or there's some butterflies that begins to crop up when we want to speak in public, what naturally happens is that because you're a bit fearful, you send the wrong emotions, and then what naturally happens is that the brain is saying flee, 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 flee. And so, once the brain is saying flee, 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 you can't do anything productive. It's like, have you ever been in a building where they triggered the alarm system, the fire alarm system, and it wasn't actually, it wasn't a real scenario, it was a practice alarm system? What happens? Everybody will calm down. And so, literally, that's what happens to the brain. So once your emotions start to send some elements of fear, the natural, inclination of the brain is to interpret it as there is danger, there is danger. And that's why a lot of people, fire drill. And that's why a lot of people, when they get in front of a crowd or they want to speak in public, they lose everything, because then everything is shut down. It's like there's a fire alarm, there's the fire, the sprinklers are on, there's confusion, so you cannot aptly think. All right? So we also must be mindful. But that's why sometimes you also must understand the how around things. So by the time you create systems around yourself, you create some form of order. You progress into so you can't be going for a public speech, or you want to go for a presentation and you'll be going 5 minutes after the event, or when the event is supposed to start. You should be there, because then that's what shows preparation. And when preparation meets opportunity, they say that's double success. We're still talking about order. So bring a routine, a system to your life, a ritual of some sort, so that when they, let it be, there are some things that should be predictable about you, almost as certain things are predictable about principles. And the way the brain takes those things on is that, like now, when it's becoming 7 p.m., just even with this, how many days have we done? All right. By the time it's almost about 7 p.m., I don't need to look at my clock or my watch or my, my phone to say, what's the time? My brain is already telling me I have an assignment. Okay. If I'm doing my workouts in the morning, or I'm praying, my brain does not, I don't need to set any alarm. By the time it's nearing 6, my brain is already telling me it's time, it's time. And so that's how we must also configure our brain, all right, by doing certain things that automatically becomes part of us, that the brain would automatically now do. Let me say that again. What I'm trying to say is that, you see, this thing we're saying about order, about ordering our steps, ordering ourselves, ordering our life, is that we want to introduce what we call a system of some sort that enables us to work on autopilot. That means that you spend less energy trying to, that you'll now be able to use that energy for something else. Get it? Every time you are not used to something, what naturally happens is that you get to struggle. The original design is not for us to struggle. It's that we become dexterous with life. And we live a life, to the extent that we can easily and, get into life without hassles. But when we get into a life of struggle, like me now, it's not a struggle for me to go into my meditation. It's become part of me. In fact, when I don't do it, I feel something is wrong. All right. When I don't read, at least 20, books, 20 pages minimum within a space of 3 hours, I feel discomforted. When I don't listen to myself, because I also always record myself. When I don't listen to myself, there's so much bad news around. So I don't worry. If I cannot listen to every other person, let me also listen to myself. And I would have said to myself good things. Sometimes I take on the scripture. I say, look, I'm like a palm tree planted by the riverside, that I bear forth fruit in due season, that my leaves will never wither, that everything I lay my hands upon, starting out now, prospers. Why won't I prosper now? It's part of it now. It's part of it. There's also what I do, and for those that are Christians here, I call it the New Testament crunch. Okay? So every morning, whether listening by audio or flipping the pages of the New Testament, I read 6 chapters every morning. 6 chapters, whether by listening consciously or unconsciously. I call it the New Testament crunch. And I whatever your faith, please, I want to advise you, take it on. Go on and call it the crunch. You'll be surprised, in 30 days, you're done. Do 6 in the morning, do 4 at night. Another thing I do, which is a ritual, is that between the hours of 12 and 2, some way I smuggle to at least read 10 pages of any book of interest. And I can start anywhere. What am I doing? I'm also developing, my dreams internally with equipping myself. Because you can only think, like I said, does anybody remember what I said thinking is like? Can anybody remember why we need to have more information per time? Please, I need someone to speak right now. I need someone to speak right now. And I'm going to be leaving here shortly. But can somebody tell me what thinking is all about? Please don't go silent on me now.
All I remember,
3 persons must speak about what thinking is and what you think it is. All right.
What I remember we spoke about thinking was that it cannot be delegated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's true. Thinking cannot be delegated, even though you can get people to brainstorm. But there's a primary responsibility for us to think. But I need someone to also share something that, with regards to thinking. I said thinking is like what? I need someone to say something about it. I see Luca.
Yes, yes, please. I don't know when you actually said it, but to me, thinking is creation. You are creating.
Mm,
But to me, thinking, there are thoughts and there are things, there are energy,
mm,
you know,
mm,
and
mm.
they are the raw materials for creation.
So yes, so thinking. So no, thinking works with a raw material. All right, thinking. All right, works with a raw material. Now, and that's where I'm going to now. That's where I'm going to now. You see, for you to think, you must impute certain things that the thinking process will grind. And that's why you must feed on things that are good, things that are true, things that would reform your life. Let me say that again. Thinking is like grinding something in a blender that you now process it to become fine juice or paste or something. Thinking is like regurgitating when a cow is chewing. All right? Thinking cannot be done in isolation. Do you understand? Thinking cannot be. So what will happen is that if, for instance, you started to pray, and I think it's important I stress this now. So there's the ASK methodology. You said as long as you are thinking, you are halfway home. Yes, I said that. But how do you think? That's how do you think? And what are the, so for instance, thinking, the product of thinking is creativity, results, right? But guess what? The way to think using the ask methodology, and let me say this again, is that ask, you could pray, you could declare things, but it doesn't just end there. That's at a level on its own. Then seek, S, is searching or researching about what you're asking. So for instance, somebody wants to travel for school or masters in Canada. You have asked that the elements of God should give you the ability to be able to go on a scholarship to Canada. The next thing you must do is to research on how to make this possible. You need a job. You must research on how to make it possible. You need a spouse. You must research on how to make it possible. You are facing a challenge. You must research on how to make it possible. Once you start to do that research, what happens is that every time you concentrate and put your attention to whatever you are doing, by the time you get up from that seat or from that environment, as you begin to progress, somehow you start to use what you call your thinking meal. What your thinking meal does is that the information you have imputed is somewhat now processed and connected with other insights and information or guidelines from others, to the point where by the time you are done and you are going back to that your notepad or journal again, you have started to think afresh. You have a solution of some sort. All right? You would have had a solution of some sort. So that's what it is, thinking. You must think. Now, and that's why you must impute in your head, either via audio, via what you see, all right, or even your environment, So sometimes just even attending a boot camp like this would provoke your thinking capabilities, all right? Attending a workshop would give you also insights, all right? Because your brain must be able to grind the information to the point that you can tailor-make it to your own purpose, all right? And that's essentially what thinking is all about. So that's why I also craft out at least 30 minutes to read or research about my dreams. See, like for instance, now I want to try and do a book talk, all right? And then turn this into like a mass platform to just go around. So I'm doing a research. Where do I want to start from? Yes, I've prayed about it, but I've started to do research. And as I'm researching, I'm thinking, and new ideas are coming. And then with that, I'm taking guided steps. I'm not just moving, I'm taking calculated steps. I'm not just moving anyhow. I want to go and do a book talk. No, I've prayed about it. I've researched about it. I have insight now. And because I've been able to think merely through, I have creative ideas as to the next steps to take. So please, as you order yourself, create certain types of routines that are beneficial to you, that at the end of the day, you will find out that by the time the day ends, when you're taking a diary, all right, or an account of how your day was spent, you'll be able to truly say you have started to experience a radical transformation, either in your thoughts, either in your words, or even in your deeds. And remember, we talked about certain acts of kindness. We must practice acts of kindness, no matter how it is. So guys, the issue around order, it's not too esoteric, but it's very essential to everything that we want to do. It's not so complex. It's so simple that when we bring that adjustment or order, okay, even in creation, there was chaos, all right? And then it was just the need to bring about order, separating things, calling those things, bringing illumination. And with, once you want to go on this order journey, you would understand the place for clarity. And that's all the things that we'll be talking about. So that you're not just ordering for ordering's sake. You're putting things, the round pegs in the round holes, okay? And you're taking right steps in the right direction with clarity, with illumination, so that most likely you are not going to fall by the wayside. So guys, look, I don't know, what do you think? Let me hear from you, and then I'm sure we're done for today. Order is so important and yet so simple. All right, order is like turning noise into rhythm, turning chaos, all right, into some semblance of order. When there's confusion, you bring order. So guys, tell us, and how do you hope to introduce order to your life? All right, so let me start with Elaine. Elaine, are you there? Elaine, can you hear me? All right, all right, Tilly, can you hear me? Okay, everybody seems to have gone mute. I hope I'm not just talking to myself.
No, you're not, sir.
Okay, so, all right, Tilly, okay, yeah, I see you. All right, Tilly.
Hi, Tayo. Yes, what was the question? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
How have you brought order, or what do you think? How would you introduce order to your lifetime?
Okay, can you please pass and then I'll answer after the others.
Okay, all right.
But
so
okay, you are saying how can I introduce order to my lifestyle?
Yeah, based on what we've been talking about, what part of your life do you want to bring order to, and how do you want to progress with it?
Okay, let me think about it.
Okay, keep thinking, please, because you've been given information now. Elaine, you want to say something? Olukade, Lady Omo.
Yes, please. I want to say something about
right,
order. For
Yes.
me, it starts with peace. It starts with contacting or going inside and bringing out peace. And you see, order is a journey. It's a continuous thing we do. Because while keeping at it, at times you would deviate. So you bring yourself back to order. And it could be, it's basically, it starts from your personal life, little things. Then when you master those little things, you get used to it. It begins to flow out, maybe to to your career, to your goals and all that. So for me, I'm always conscious of that, that thing that, okay, my life, and I affirm it, divine order takes charge of my life, especially when, I'm not really like in a positive place, maybe like psychologically or emotionally, whatever. So I practice silence, I go into myself, I try to like, okay, what is the issue about? And my subconscious speaks to me, and I begin to like, okay, this is what I should do, or this is what I shouldn't do. This is how I should respond, and peace is peace is the, should I say, is the umpire, or is the sign that I know that I'm in order. There is a way you will feel when you know that you are in order. So when you get to that, when you feel that way, feeling good is a signal that you are in order, and it's different for everybody. So when you deviate, you come back, you go inside yourself, you practice silence, you try and figure out things, and your mind, your spirit will talk to you and direct you. For me, that is, it is order for me, and it is progressive.
Mm.
It is progressive. It is progressive.
Great. So let me also ask. All right. So whilst you were speaking, it's also good to also let you know that you can introduce order by you can introduce order even physically, just by even changing the look and the feel of your room, of your office space, of your environment. You could introduce order just by even placing a plant. Or, you see, those little things, there's a way that you tweak your environment, your surroundings, and it would have provoked some form of order. That's why you see the people that understand space. All right. So is your closet, is it all lumped up and everywhere is, can you propose that you want to introduce order to your closet? Can you propose that you want to bring order to your bookshelf? You want to bring order to even your living room? Okay. And just create something that brings about easy access. Okay. Does anybody want to share any other thing, just so that I don't take more of your time?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think in order to in order to place order in my life is by, because I read the Benjamin Franklin, the 13 virtues of Benjamin Franklin. And I remember when he quoted that for order, that let other things have their places. Let each part of your business have its time. So I figured out now that for me to have that order, I have to be able to put things where they belong, arrange things where they belong. And I also realized it starts with little things like journaling. So by separating all your journals. So I have my journal for my business. I have my personal journal. I have my goal journal. I have my prayer journal, and then the daily planner. So for me to be able to see results from order, it means that I have to be able to place each business where it belongs. I have to be able to give everything their own space, their own time. And also, I remember you said something today that the wellspring of your power is your ability to bring order. So once you have order, there's this power within, because you know that you're not just organized, but you can, from the top of your head, do anything that you want to do because everything is right in order. So, thank you. That's it, sir.
Great. And that's a very valid, just even working with the normal, I'll take you now. But let me say this thought. Just even, do you know that if you are in a disorganized state, if your files are not properly arranged, all right, and somebody requests that urgently they require maybe a letter or a certificate or something, and you don't even know where they are, you immediately get agitated. Now, once you start to get agitated, remember, your brain deals with emotions. What begins to happen is that because you're agitated, your brain is saying there might be trouble. Then you become scattered. Before you know what is up, you are exerting energy wrongly. Before you know what is up, you are becoming irritable. All right, before you know what is up, you would have triggered negatives to the extent that you would now feel frustrated. So you see, just that singular act of bringing order to your filing system, arranging your certificates, arranging your books, you know, like I love what Kewetue said, I want to bring order to my business. Just that single order. Ruru also said she wants to create a team. Just by introducing order, you would have reduced the amount of time you spend dissipating your energy wrongly. You would have reduced it. Do you understand? And so, you see, introducing, so when people have filing cabinets, you know, since we're also in the business model for this week, when people have filing cabinets or they create folders on their laptop, don't just put everything on your desktop. Create, if for instance, now, have you opened a folder, Reinvention, Immersion, Bootcamp? Have you gone there to drop some of the videos and whatever, just to save so that in case you need to recall it? You see, what will happen is that there will be a day, something will occur to you, you probably won't remember, and then you say, Kai, where is that? Let me go and listen to that thing again. And that happens from the place of bringing order. Okay? Bringing order. Order your wardrobe. Order the arrangement of your shoes rather. You know, order where you put your, and I'm sure the ladies are familiar with this, where you put your, you know, underwear. You know, just putting your underwear everywhere with your top, with your shirt, and you'll be clustered. You know, that's why those little things, bringing order, just gives us some form of, you know, freedom, as it were. Lady Omo, I see your hands raised. Can you, you know, unmute yourself, please?
Yeah, you touched some of the points I was going to make, but I will also say that one of the ways I create order, I drive myself, and you know how Lagos is. So I have the stick notes on my kind of my dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
So before I leave home, I plan my journey.
Okay.
I can't be going to Ikeja and going to Ogba. I always think of how I'm going to plan it. Maybe I need to stop at, I'm a businesswoman. I need to stop at Dolphin. I want to stop at Dolphin on my return or when I'm going. No, I was in Victoria Island because on my going out of here, I'll be against traffic. So I have this sticky note kind of a chat board on your, you know, touch screen on you. I'm like, it just tells me where I'm going to be. And I try as much as possible to stick to that. I'm going to this. And I honestly tick them the moment I'm done on the dashboard. So I know what I need to do. 2 stops before home is all this. And we'll talk about work. But at recreation, we can be also involved in all the other, all our lives. We never all our creation. So I don't bring work. I'm bold enough to switch off my phone. I'm not a medical doctor, so I know for really any emergencies per se. But I notice the peace and tranquil I feel when my phone is turned off. There's just this peace and calmness. Because sometimes, even in this order, you can really be so busy that your BP is high. So we don't, in this order, there's no health. So doesn't think of health. You just think it's back. But in this time, where is rest? Because these things, you'll be amazed. It wasn't planned, but maybe you just dozed off somewhere. And then you wake up more energized, more alive, more, you know, when we all we never make room for rest, we never make room for recreation. We just accept ourselves, our sleep, back and back. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, awesome. All right, so let's take one more person, you know. Okay.
Sir, you know, when we spoke about order, you reminded me of a corporate world when I was still in management in corporate services, we used to have the what we call a corporate image. And that basically what we were calling order of doing things in an institution. So face of the institution needs to be known by your clients, both your clients and your staff, to say this is how we run business. In the morning when we arrive, we have a short briefing meeting for about 30 minutes, and then we discuss the plan of the day. In the afternoon, we meet 15 minutes or 10 minutes just to give a feedback of what have we done for the day. Even if you don't have a staff, but you are working alone, if you can have the way of doing things, even if you are not there, whoever that is going to stand for you when you are on leave or you are sick, they would know that this is how she normally starts her business. She would start by planning for the day, and at the end of the day, she would review what she has done. I think in that way, it will also help you to see what you have done, the impact of what you have done on a daily basis or in a weekly or on a monthly basis or whatever thing. But what I like is that at least even other people that would be coming to you, they would know this is how she is doing things. This is how things are done in this house. You cannot come and cut corners. Want to make production, but this is how you are going to do it. And in that case, you know that you realize the profits or whatever. So how I understand it is that if I can have the image of myself as a brand in my business or in life, this is how I do things. People knows that I cannot be associated with corruption. This is how I do things. People know the quality of a business that I'm providing is this. This is how I do it. Even if they can go anywhere, but they would always remember, Ish, only if we could have called Ketway, because if she was here, she was going to run it this way. So I'm thinking that is my understanding of the order. That is how I would want to see myself doing it, to be a brand wherever I go, so that, yes, I think, I wanted to say that, people must know that this is who she is, the way her reputation or the way she is doing the yes.
Okay. Yeah, and I think I love what you have said. So, organizations have what you call standard operating procedures. So that's one. So, and those things are not crafted in the air. Is that over time, they start to take note of the things that they are doing. And I don't know if anybody was around when I shared the example about if you go into a McDonald's store or, wherever they do burger or something, what naturally happens is that they have a sequence for preparing the meal. So you don't need to be an expert, all right? Because they prompt a system by introducing order, what happens is that they are able to churn that faster and it is consistent, all right? So there's no vacillation or there's no, today is like this, tomorrow is like, no, because they've created a system. And what is a system? Introducing order. The other thing I needed to tell you all is that no matter how small your organization is, start to document certain things that form your culture and your system. Because as you begin to expand, people need to know the way you are, okay? Or how you want the organization to run. So there must be what you call induction. You must be able to bring about some induction of some sort to your teammates to say, this is what we do, this is how we do it, and constantly update them on what is going on. And this is very important because communication is critical to any success that we want to achieve. Okay, Elaine says she's ready to share. Elaine, so tell us, how are you going to be introducing order and into your life and and whatever you're going to be doing?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yes. So for me, when I think order, the way that you sort of broke it down to us, I think I would want to start maybe trimming certain elements of, my social life, something that could be more so associated with being spontaneous, right? That's with family and friends, because oftentimes I find myself accepting invitations to like a lunch, a dinner, an unplanned event because it only makes sense to leave the house. I mean, COVID, right? So one, I think that's more to the side of lack of a discipline and not having any order in my life, right? So it's as if I'm just always open to jump on board or to join a certain circle. So maybe for me going forward, I need to start reevaluating there to say if I hadn't planned to go out on a Saturday and somebody texts me an hour before or 3 hours before, 6 hours before to say, let's do 1, 2, 3. I need to have the discipline to actually say, this is not within my plan. And I'm going to take a rain check. Right.
Great.
So yeah, I think for me that's maybe one of the biggest things that I need to work on.
Excellent. And I can tell you without a doubt, that is amazing. You know that if, for instance, and I've also been in that state before. So imagine you had planned that tomorrow you're going to crack on, like in Nigeria, tomorrow is bank holiday, all right? The Muslims are celebrating, so there's a public holiday. We call it public holiday, but it's bank holiday, right? The banks won't be working. Now, imagine tomorrow I've planned that I'm going to have to bring some order, imagine, to my office, okay? By arranging certain things, by following through with my outstandings. Now, guess what? Maybe I get home tonight, and just before I decide to go and shower, I get a message saying, guys, it's bank holiday tomorrow. Let's all hang out and just have fun. You know that because I've been spontaneous by eating that call, all right? And then I go out with them. And then God knows when I come back home. Do you know that you would have disrupted my earlier plan to bring order? So you see, that's why what you just said is so essential, because you must live your life planned and stop living your life planless. Because once there's a plan, there's likely to be a destination. And if you keep well to the plan, almost like a building plan, you get to the destination faster than when you are going towards a plan and you are moving up and down. So you must try to be less available. And being less available is not being less available doing nothing or trying to show that you are kind of busy. Is that be creatively engaged, because once you set out your time, then you know what you want to achieve.
Be intentional with your time.
Being intentional with your time. And I'm sure we're going to be talking about that. I know Joanna is here. I can see Joanna is here. Joanna, can you hear me? Joanna, if you can hear me, just unmute. Okay, I'll be in touch with that. I want to see how we can bring General Elayo, that's Captain Elayo, to come and teach us on discipline. Okay, so I'll take this offline with Joanna so that she can reach out to Colonel Peter Elayo so that we also can understand how to be disciplined. The military have a style, okay, and how have they become regimented to the extent that they're able to follow through on their assignments, wake up when they have to wake up, do their drills when they have to do their drills. So let's even hear from them, so it will not just be me alone. We'll hear from somebody that is doing it, has been doing it, and will continue to do it, okay? I see Oratile has her hands up. So do you want to say something? And then let's begin to round up. I see some of our people that are joining in. Great to have you, Tolu. Great to have you, Kende. All right. I hope you can watch the replay. We've just been buttressing on what we spoke around earlier on this morning. And we started off with order, but we started to practicalize, that theory around order, and just so that people can understand what needs to be done. Okay, Joanna says she heard. So, Oratile, so tell us,
yes.
how are you going to introduce order?
For me, I'm like naturally like a very orderly person. Like I'm a sucker for order. I have OCD, so this section actually like gives me so much like comfort and assurance that I'm normal, because I've been told many times that no, you do not have to plan everything. You are not, you have to sometimes just have to do things that are not planned. So I'm very happy with what has been said in this session so far, because it confirms that I'm actually normal, because I have like OCD. Like I plan every single thing.
But it's okay. But for every state, there's also an overstate. And that's one of the things we want to try to bring about alignment. Okay? Remember, your compulsive nature to want to put everything in order can also be retrogressive. So that's why we said that bring an alignment. So remember, we're not today is order is just one of those things that we're talking around or talking about. Remember, we started about taking decisions. So you have already started to order yourself by the decisions that you are going to take. All right. So the next thing we say, we should start to think. We started to talk around the mindset. We moved on to talk about values. We started to talk about time, how essential time is. Because you see, there are some things that you don't need to over-order or put them in order. Once you understand those principles like time, now we went on to talk about focus. So, you know that by the time you are focusing on something and you get distracted, it takes you about 25 to 30 minutes for you to recover. So you are intentional about how you want to manage your time. Where order isn't necessary, do the best to have. So yeah, but so there are instances, that's why I said there's a pro and a con for everything. There's an advantage and a disadvantage. There's a way that you can be too orderly, and and that it becomes inimical to your progress. Because sometimes, like I said, I'm not saying it shouldn't be spontaneous. So for instance, let me even break this down to relationships. So you're in a relationship now, and your other partner wants to hang out with you or something, or wants to be with you or something. Does it mean that because they have been so orderly, you will now say no, because now my time must be used expeditiously? I will not have time for my loved one. No. What we're saying is that order should be there, but create a balance. All right? Don't be too available. Doesn't mean you shouldn't be available. You see now, it's almost like a paradox of some sort. So we're saying don't be too available, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be available. Because remember, you are also interdependent on other people's, or on the environment and all of that. So you need to constantly think about the balance. Okay? So there are some things that, even though it's not on my schedule, but because of what you call emotional bank account, and Stephen Covey was talking about that. If people are in your line of purpose, there are some things that when they tell you that they please need your attention, even though it's not already in your original plan, you might have to, take some sacrifice, all right, or compromise, just to make sure that that thing is done. Because in the emotional bank account, you must constantly keep depositing and withdraw less. So for instance, I can imagine if I told any one of you that I'm copy, yes, bend a little. So maybe I recall when I went to Santin, I was with Kewetiwe in South Africa, and the women from Phenomenal African Woman Foundation came to welcome me. One of the things that happened was that because I was there on a business trip, all right, I couldn't truly jettison the business trip, but I had to be very flexible. So what did I do next? I had to tell my partner, hey, guy, look, I have to accommodate these people. They've been waiting. Now, for them waiting also, does it mean that they didn't have use for their time? No. And look at how the night ended. I don't know if Kewetiwe remembers. We now all, including my partner and everybody, we all now converged and had fun together. But even though we still had business meetings to attend, but we felt that this was important to build better goodwill, almost like the Rotarians would say, and better friendship. And we accommodated that. So don't be compulsively orderly to the extent that it becomes detrimental, all right, to your own, well-being. So introduce balance. All right, guys, I think we've had a great time. And I need to allow you all to just go and, get ready for tomorrow. I don't know if you'll be working on your workbook, If you are having challenges, let us know. Joanna is here. She's also able to, you can reach her also on the Telegram group. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about optimism. Please don't miss it for anything. You know, optimism. There's a prayer I pray that even if there's any prayer you need to pray, you must pray that you must be optimistic. If there's any prayer you want to pray, you know, that's why it says, look, a living dog is better than a dead lamb. You see, that thought alone just spurs you to be able to say, look, no matter the situation I'm facing right now, I'm better, and tomorrow can only get better. Guys, I need to go now. I need to go now. I thank you for always showing up. And I hope we learned something. I hope we learned something. And for those that just joined us, you know, as you know, please, I want everybody to just, as they, you know, so maybe one after the other, someone just say something, whatever made sense to you. Can you type it or say it or mute yourself, and let's close out of this session. You know, it's 8 o'clock already. All right. Can we start to do that now? You know, we're done. We're done for today. Thank you. Thank you.
The orderly in those little things, in the little things.
The orderly in those little things. Elaine is next.
Align, balance.
Align, balance. Okay. Ifyok, I see you from Dubai or Abu Dhabi. All right.
Hi, good evening. One of the things I learned is don't be compulsively available.
Don't be compulsively available. Ruru, take it up.
Order is critical for attaining success.
Order is critical for attaining success. Elaine, yeah? Elaine, are you saying anything about order?
Yes.
Yes,
I'm here. I think for me, I typed it down actually. Just find a balance so that you don't overstrain yourself, right? You can be orderly, but also find the balance.
Great. Joanna, you want to say something about order?
Okay,
Joanna.
good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, okay, for me, you can maintain order and still be flexible.
Great. Maintaining order and still be flexible. Kainde, please drop the word. What do you have to say about order? Okay, we'll see you next.
Balance. I came a bit late, sorry, but I learned balance.
Balance. Bring about balance. Kewitiwe, what was the thing that stood out? You know, Oratile has talked about, you know, what stood out for you?
Me?
Yes.
Higher. It's balance actually, because
okay.
Yes, from what you said, I think that I should work on that, like balance. I should not be over orderly to the extent that I end up like what can I say? Self-destruct.
Where you become compulsively orderly to the detriment of others, that you now become, you know, a terror to your community, all because you're a perfectionist. All right. All right, guys. It's been an amazing day. I still got a lot of things to do, and then I need to go rest. So I commit you to the hands of the Almighty, and I ask that all that you require to bring order into your life, to turn all your noise to rhythm, be released unto you as you go and experience peace on every side, and on every side indeed. Amen and amen. So, all right, guys.
Amen.